All right, welcome back. So now that we have a little bit of a foundation of how angles behave, especially ones that are measured in degrees, we can apply that a little bit to another application looking at coterminal angles. So if two different angles have the same terminal side, then they are said to be coterminal. So how are coterminal angles related? Well, let's draw a couple of scenarios. So if we have our angle here, so let's have our initial side be the positive x-axis, and then we have an angle that stops. Let's stop it in the first quadrant. Now, we actually have a few different types of angles that we could get from this picture. So one of them, of course, is to just do our acute angle that's less than 90 degrees. So that's one angle. So, and it's a positive angle because I'm going counterclockwise. But what if I wanted to go counterclockwise? So if I went counterclockwise, I could be describing this angle here. It's a pretty large angle, but the one thing we also know is that it's negative. So those two angles would be considered to be coterminal. How are they related to each other? What do we know about that whole loop? Yeah, it should be 360 degrees. So if we use that 360 degrees off of our initial angle, we can either add it or subtract it to get other coterminal angles. So either add or subtract multiples of 360 degrees to get other coterminal angles. So again, multiples. So we could go just 360 degrees, but we might be able to do a whole loop around of it. So you can do multiples of 360 and get even more coterminal angles. So whatever you have to do to answer the question. Now this first question just says to find angles coterminal, but let's be a little bit more specific. Let's find a positive and a negative coterminal angle to the given angles. So if we are starting with 40 degrees and we want to get another positive coterminal angle, what do? So we're, instead of going the opposite direction, we want to go positive, so let's add 360. So our positive should be 40 plus 360, which is 400 degrees. So that should be coterminal to our original angle of 40. And if we wanted a negative one, you guessed it, we're going to have to subtract 360. So negative 320 degrees. Very, very quick. Multiples of 360 and you're good as gold. So let's do it again. So if we wanted a positive one, we can add 360. So that's going to give us a positive 160 degrees. And our negative, we can subtract. So that looks like negative 560 degrees. So far so good, right? Well, look at this one though, 410 degrees. Now we can do the same thing. We can add 360 to this. So that's going to give us 770. But if we wanted our negative one, if we subtract 360, well, technically we're not negative yet. You're at positive 50. Well, that's not negative. So we got to go one more time. So negative 310 degrees should be our negative coterminal angle. So like I said, as long as you're using that 360 degrees, that will always give you another coterminal angle, either adding or subtracting, no matter what. Okay, well, let's have a short video this time around, and we'll pick up the next, which is looking at a different type of measuring system for angles, radian measure. So see you in a bit.